Hi everyone! In this video I'd like to talk about a couple points about pH that often give students a little bit of trouble as they're working through it. So the first thing to note is that the pH can exceed the 0 to 14 boundaries. Oftentimes when people are first introduced to pH, we're told that it can't go below 0 and it won't go above 14, when in reality it absolutely can. So if you had a really strong acid at a really high concentration, you could have a pH that definitely went well below 0 into the negatives, and you could also have a pH that exceeded 14 if you're talking about an equally strong base that was also high in concentration. So those demarcations are actually not true and you can exceed them. The second thing to note is that when we're talking about significant figures in pH, the significant figures only start to happen after the decimal. So for example, if I look at this value, 10.267, the only significant figures in this value here are the ones underlined, 2, 6, and 7. So I would say that this pH has 3 significant figures. So it's something else that can sometimes cause trouble when you're trying to solve problems. The third thing is that pH on its own does not tell you how strong an acid is. Oftentimes, because we know that the lower the pH, the more acidic the solution, we start to equate that with the idea of being a strong acid, but that's not true. You can have a really concentrated solution of a weak acid and start to get very low in your pHs. Or you could have a very dilute strong acid and have a higher pH. Definitely still going to be below 7, but not as low as it could possibly go. So that's something else to make sure you know. If you're trying to talk about how strong is an acid, then you're looking at the Ka value, or you're looking at the concentration of the H plus produced relative to the concentration of the acid you put in. The fourth point is that pH is equal to the negative log of H plus. But this can be rearranged. So we can be given a pH and find out what the H plus concentration is by rearranging that equation. And when you do that, you have the concentration of H plus right here is going to be equal to 10 to the negative pH. So those are some notes for you on pH.